Please, Jesus.
Okay.
Mm.
So tonight, we thank you guys for being here. Others will be joining hopefully as we go, but I wanted to get it started tonight. We have our special guest on tonight, Dr. Zoe. Um, she's out of Connecticut, and she has her own a partner, private practice. She's a licensed naturopath physician in the state of Connecticut. I'm just going to read a little bit of your
Okay.
bio.
Okay.
I got off your website.
Okay.
Completed her bachelor's of science in biology at Clark Atlanta University, right here in Georgia. Completed her training at the University of Bridgeport College of Naturopath Medicine in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Dr. Hickson, clinical education. She was extensively trained in mind body counseling, nutritional medicine, women's health, autoimmune disease, metabolic disorders, integrated cancer treatment, and prevention. What's that word? Gastrointestinal?
Gastroenterol. Get. You can go with that.
Gastrointestinal
Mhm.
disorders. Okay. Food allergy sensitivities analysis. Her clinical training has provided her experience in pediatrics through geriatrics. And there's a lot more on her resume, but I just pulled some of the information that she has. She's also, I've known her um, personally for a number of years up in Connecticut while I was
Mhm.
there. And we did some work together. She's been on this platform before. And so we wanted to bring her back based on the conversations that we've been having over the past 2 weeks. We've been talking about mindfulness behavior. We've been talking about emotional triggers. We've been doing a lot of mental health cleansing therapy, you name it. We've
Mhm.
been, we've been going through it in the past 2 weeks. And so I thought it fit to also bring on Dr. Hickson tonight, just to talk about the health piece. In life, our health is the last thing that we get in check. You know, we're so busy, we're so going through our jobs, our houses come first, making money comes first, being places comes first, and our health always comes last. And so, one scripture that I have tonight, I'm just going to read it, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Zoe so we can get into some discussion. Third, Third John 1 verse 2. Of
I
course,
was just
we
reading
we
that.
all know. Okay, see, there we go.
That's the scripture for
All right,
my practice. So go ahead.
that's confirmation. Beloved, now this is the amplified. I'm going to read four versions, the same verse in four different versions. The first version is the amplified version. Beloved, I pray that in every way you may succeed and prosper and be in good health physically, just as I know your soul prospers spiritually. The King James Version says, Beloved, I wish above all things that you mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. The Contemporary English Version says, Dear friend, and I pray that all goes well for you. I hope that you are as strong in body as I know you are in spirit. And the last version I want to read is the New International Version. It says, Dear friends or friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well. So I wanted to find the different versions because what stood out to me is that word good health. There's a lot in that verse, but those two words
Mhm.
to me, um, it stands out because good health is something that most of us struggle to get. um, we go to checkups sometimes, regular scheduled doctor's visits or yearly physicals. Some of us may even exercise and even diet properly. But what exactly is good health? You know, and how does our good health prosper? Our soul prospers, but our health should prosper also if we're taking care of it.
Mhm.
And so tonight, before tonight, I did send Dr. Zoe a barrage of things that I think we could talk about tonight. But there's too much, so she's just gonna pick a couple, and I'm sure there's you all also have some questions that you may want to pose to her tonight. But I'm just so glad, thankful that she's here tonight to even share with us. Your time is valuable as a doctor professional yourself, and so tonight we also have Pastor Janet from Chicago. She's always chiming in with us. Great, dear friend. And of course, Lady Patricia, right here in Atlanta. Again, you've met us all.
Yes.
You know who we are. You
Hmm.
know how we flow. So I don't know where you want to start, but um, if you want me to I guess pick one of the things that I said, or you just want to try to go with them right now, you tell me.
So I'm flexible. I know you mentioned you did want to touch on emotional eating, like that,
Yes.
the trigger of emotional eating, and then kind of what that ends up facilitating as well too.
Okay.
So we can definitely start there. I will say, so I love mental health because it's so vast and so deep, and it's endless because it's not. Our mind transcends our body. Like, we a lot of times when we think of our mind or mental health, we think of our actual brain, but really the brain is just a facilitator of our mind. It if While we can't properly communicate to our body without our brain, the brain isn't doing the hard work. It's the mind that's doing it. So, and even when we're looking at things from a spiritual standpoint, that's actually where the enemy attacks us. You know what I mean? We can, especially I think even as parents too, if you're ailing in any way, but you have children to take care of, you put that to the back of your mind. I have things to do,
Yeah.
But if we're warring in our mind, that can take us down in a second.
Mm,
That is really where we tend to get attacked at, because that's where warfare really is. Our bodies are temporary, and we know that. Even if we don't live like it, our bodies are temporary. Our mind, our soul, our spirit, that is what's eternal. That's what goes on to either go with God or not. So, but it still is eternal, and that's usually what the enemy is attacking. He's trying to attack or try to steal eternity from us, eternity with our creator from us. So I always love doing that, the mind component with health, because honestly without it we can't actually have good health.
mm,
So when we're looking at emotional eating, there's a lot of things to take into account. So, for instance, when I'm sitting with someone and I'm telling them how I want them to change their eating habits, one, I take good care to see where the person is at, because someone who, let's say someone eats out 4 to 5 times a week and they barely cook at home and they skip meals, to ask them to take out their pots and pans and to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner and bring lunch to work with them, that's a huge change.
yeah.
And not only that, but when there's, let's say they come from a big family and now there's birthday parties and holidays, and you can't eat what the grandma always cooks, you know, that's another stickler. And even so I've had quite a few patients, my single patients who may be in the world, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is happy hour.
Yeah.
And, that comes with certain habits. It comes with certain beverages and certain foods. And with changing our diet, usually you can't do those same things anymore. And I've even had patients come back really upset at me, saying, "You've ruined my life. um, I can't do this." And so basically, what I do is I find a way that they can still keep the social aspect of their life and not creating a, a mental emotional issue while they're making that transition. So oftentimes when we're emotional eating, it could be one of a few reasons. Obviously due to emotion. So if there's been something drastic that happened in life, so either if we're stressed or hurt, or sad, we will emotionally eat. And physiologically, what that looks like is we're looking for a dopamine fix.
If we're stressed and what?
So if, let's say
Stressed,
we're stressed, we're sad, we're
sad,
down. Yeah.
down. Okay.
So like if a traumatic event has happened,
Hmm.
It's easier for us to go for things that can make us feel good.
Okay.
So, sugars and fats tend to trigger the dopamine receptors in our brain. That's our feel good areas. So,
Mm.
dope.
I must need a lot of dope then, because I'm a chocoholic.
Chocolate.
Well, chocolate helps with that, but it does other things.
You
I
got
It
thought it
does
was
cinnamon.
only
other
dark
things
chocolate.
too.
I
Okay.
thought
Um,
only dark chocolate was good for us.
so yes, we want to do dark chocolate, 75% or darker. Cadbury doesn't quite fall into that category.
Mm.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Ah,
Ah,
Oh, jeez.
but now with that, now the nice thing about chocolate is that if you're getting a clean chocolate, it actually has other minerals in it as well too. So oftentimes when women crave chocolate, especially if it is like at some point in their cycle, um, minerals like magnesium, oftentimes our body is craving. So we will crave the thing that we can find it in. So that's oftentimes how we'll crave foods, even if we're, like you had mentioned, late night snacking or eating. Sometimes that's a matter of not eating enough food during the day. So if you're not getting in enough calories, and nutrient dense calories, that is, during the day, the body still requires itself to make energy. So it's going to try and find an easy way to do it. And some of the easiest ways to do it is through sugars and simple carbs. So for those of us who may,
oh,
I
oh,
see.
Guilty as charged.
Pastor Janet.
So, and and I'm going to talk about balance today too. But only
Because we have
because
none.
no, but you know what it is? It's easy for us to condemn ourselves or condemn others because something doesn't look perfect. And the reality is we're there's as much as we should do our best to do the right thing and do what we know is best for ourselves, we are also made to enjoy life. Scripture says it, to enjoy life, that bad things happen sometimes for no reason, but still enjoy life. So there's life is not supposed to be this treacherous thing of I have to eat dirt and grass to stay healthy, but I can't enjoy any of it. Like we should be able to still enjoy our food. Times
Are you frozen?
Yeah, a little bit.
Uh-oh.
those things as well too.
Oh
Doc,
man, I
You
thought that was my cue to get some chocolate.
you were frozen, Doc.
Oh,
froze.
okay.
When you froze, I'm like,
Do it now, Janet. Do it now before she comes back on. What are you eating, Pastor?
Elder John
Nothing.
has no shame.
Not eating anything.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, but we'll talk about balance. But essentially, again, when we're looking at that emotional eating, so if you come to me and say, you know what, I tend to eat late at night, I'm gonna ask, okay, what does your food look like during the day? So I'm evaluating how much food you're getting in, but also the quality of that food. So if you're not eating enough for what your body requires, or let's say you're getting the calorie number in, but they lack nutrients. So for instance, let's say you have a bagel in the morning and then cereal later on, and then you have a potato, and then you have like everything that's just white and starchy. You're not getting the types of vitamins and minerals that you need in your diet, so your body is going to continue to feel hungry, if you will, because it's looking for those nutrients to fill in those receptors in our body so that our cells can do the function that it's supposed to do. So if we can have 16, 1800 calories in our diet, but if they're nutrient poor, then the body will still act as if it's hungry, even though you've eaten a lot of calories. That's actually one way of gaining weight. So, so we want nutrient dense calories, not nutrient deficient calories. Uh,
Nutrient, what calories?
Nutrient dense.
Dense.
So, like instead of a regular potato, we want to go with a sweet potato or a butternut squash. If you choose to do, I see your face, Elder John.
Gosh. Oh, Lord.
If in the morning, let's say we tend to go for bread in the morning, then let's pick a good quality bread. So something that's whole grain. If it is going to be wheat based, let it be organic, because non-organic wheat in this country is genetically modified.
I've tried that Ezekiel bread. Lord
Yes,
Jesus.
I like it.
It tastes like it's been around since Ezekiel was around.
You- I
I'm serious.
I consider it a sturdy bread.
Lord
So,
Jesus.
and that's what it's a sturdy bread.
That could
30.
hold a building up.
Yes,
I'm telling you, it's
sturdy.
that sturdy. It's
That sounds like a rock.
I'm trying to
Well,
tell
you
you.
know,
Upon this
The
rock, I built.
Ezekiel bread. Is the Ezekiel bread an unleavened bread?
it is not unleavened.
No,
Okay.
But
it
what it
should be
is,
right. It
so
should be.
you know what? So I guess technically it probably was maybe close to it, but I know they start to add additional gluten, but I think they've since taken it out again. But basically, what they did was they took exactly what's in the Bible. They took those grains, they sprouted it, and they literally just mill it together with water, and that's the bread. So our regular bread is made with sugar and honey and a whole. It's literally made like a cake. So whereas Ezekiel bread, you just take the grains and you bake them. So it's what real bread actually is.
Oh,
So in terms of
Yeah.
so it is sturdy, but in terms of flavor, the flavor almost has a nutty flavor, especially if you toast it. Um, try it.
It
Try it.
it don't matter how much butter you put on it. It doesn't matter.
So I'll tell you how I would make it for my son when he was younger. I would actually
One
make it
second, Dr. Zoe.
sure.
I'm sorry.
That's
I got
okay.
a friend of mine also that's on the call tonight. Jumped on.
Okay.
Will, I don't know if you're there. Will,
Yes, I'm here.
how you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Glad you could chime in with us.
Yeah, man. I'm behind the wheel, so
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
really.
No, I understand. Keep your hands on the wheel, brother.
Yeah,
All right. Glad you could join us, man. Go ahead,
yeah,
Dr.
man.
So the way I would make it for my son is I would do French toast, but I would keep it simple. So I would just mix almond milk and cinnamon, and I put the bread in there, and then I would toast it with butter on the pan, so it would still have the flavor. Sorry, the flavor and the texture of French toast, but without the extra sugars. And then I would use 100% maple syrup to sweeten it. So it would still be sweetened, and I still make it that way for him now, and he likes it unless I burn it. But
try that, Pastor John.
What was that?
Try that and let us know.
Okay.
there's
Good luck.
Okay, I will try that if you try the Ezekiel bread.
Oh, God. Mm.
it's
Okay.
Okay.
it's
We'll
not
work
as
on
bad
that.
as it's not as bad as Pastor John is saying it is.
Oh,
It
okay.
it did I will say in general with healthy things, I find either you like it or you don't. There's really no middle of the road too much. Either you like it or you don't. A lot of people like it. They just might say, yeah, it's a bit sturdier, but people like Pastor John, he's just not for it. Like Ezekiel bread does not get his vote.
So is it like on the bagel side as far as texture?
Um,
No.
Sturdy like that?
No.
you know what? So
You know what concrete is? No, I'm just kidding.
no,
Oh,
it's not like
listen,
concrete.
that's nice.
So
You know what bricks are in a build. I'm sorry.
uh, a lot of health breads. So like regular bread usually is really spongy. Literally it's almost like cake, like pound cake. Ezekiel bread is not like that at all. So when it doesn't fluff up, and it does keep its shape, but it's not because it's sprouted. Again, when you toast it, it does have a little bit of a nutty flavor to it. So if you toast it and put butter on it, it has a much better flavor profile than if you were to just eat it plain.
I
If you
will
were to
try it.
Yeah, if you make it with a sandwich, it requires a bit more mayo.
Oh,
Regular
oh.
bread.
Impressive.
So my preference is to either toast it or make it with French toast. Make it as
Okay.
French toast. Those are my preferences.
What's the smallest pack that they sell?
It's just a loaf, a regular loaf.
You can't
Yeah.
get rid of the loaf.
Now,
You
if
can't
you
buy it singly. You
Yeah,
gotta
buy
buy the
little.
whole loaf.
Okay.
now at Trader Joe's, they have a, a no hassle return policy. So if you bought the bread and you just said this is just not for me, you can bring it right back to them and they'll give you your money back, no
Oh,
questions
no.
asked.
My conscience would
So
go.
well, but prior to the pandemic, if there was something you wanted to try in their store, they would actually open it and let you try it there.
Oh,
But because people in stores are not sampling right now, they likely won't open it now. But they used to do that. So prior to the pandemic, if hey, I'm curious about buying this, but I've never tried it before, they'll open it, let you try it, and if you like it, then you just get a fresh pack of whatever that food is.
Wow.
So, but not the case for right now. I'll tell you about another bread that I like that's not as sturdy as Ezekiel bread, but it's still healthy. It's called Canyon Bakery House. It's a gluten-free bread, but it's naturally gluten-free.
Canyon.
Yes, Canyon Bakery House.
Where do they sell that?
So most supermarkets they have it.
Oh,
It
okay.
usually is in the freezer section, like where the health food stuff will be. If they have a gluten-free section, it likely will be there. That bread tastes closest to what regular bread is. So in terms of like if someone says, "Oh, I'm going gluten-free," you with a lot of gluten-free products can be really poor quality. So these are Canyon House Bakery is one of the cleaner gluten-free products. Actually, it's Canyon Bakery House. Sorry, did I say that or Canyon House Bakery?
You said Canyon
Canyon
Bakery.
Canyon Bakery House.
Okay, yes, that's what it is. Okay, make sure I'm not twisting the words around. Okay. So yeah, so if we're getting back to that emotional eating, now when it comes to having emotions, like when we are sad, when we're depressed, when we're anxious, what I would tell a person is to kind of self-evaluate. Like someone might notice they may not eat as much if they're overwhelmed or have certain types of anxiety, like anticipatory anxiety, but they may emotionally eat when they're sad or depressed or someone upset them.
Hmm.
So depending on the motion may trigger different types of appetite or different types of cravings. So, and again, what we're looking for is something to soothe us. So dopamine is soothing, it's calming, it's our happy hormone that we make naturally. But in times of stress or in times of being upset, we want more of that dopamine to calm us down. And usually that's through, again, sugars and fats.
Mm.
So that's why people may, go for ice cream or fried foods and things like that because it triggers those areas of the brain that will be calming in the moment. It's not long lasting calmness, but it's calming in the moment or satisfying in the moment. Now the go
A
ahead.
whole tub of ice cream.
That's called trying to drown your emotions now.
Mm.
A whole tub.
Yes.
Okay. So don't do the whole tub. Just
No,
do.
No.
don't do the whole
Just get
tub.
a cone or so. Okay.
But you know what, and things like that too. So my for myself, my rule of thumb with a craving is if I can withstand the craving, then I won't go for it. Now, if it's like 3 or 4 days in and I think I'm gonna like convulse if I don't have that whatever it is, then I will have it, but I'll have a clean version of it. So like so oh, hold on, let me make sure I didn't plug my computer back up. Give me 1 second, guys. I don't want it to cut off on you all. Okay,
Okay.
there we go. There we go. Um, so
Mm.
like for myself, I may crave chocolate. Ah, oh, dang it.
All right, Doc. Uh-oh.
Oh dear, there you
Oh,
go.
that's why she said it. Okay.
Um,
Quick,
I just
chocolate
would like
time.
to know,
Chocolate time.
is
No.
is there a clean version of this?
Okay. No. Godiva. No.
Mr. Janet. And it's Godiva too, the good stuff.
That's a good. Oh,
This is not.
Ferraro
Look, I found
Rocher.
it in.
What's the other
Can I
chocolate?
make a confession now?
Yeah, because she's not here.
Remember, I have the chocolate confessions I have to make, right? So, I found this in the dollar store.
The
Uh-oh.
Godiva.
Yes. So I went back to the store and bought the whole box.
That if you do have to give into a craving or feel like you just can't um, avoid it, and choose a healthier version of that craving. And that could look like if it's ice cream, that could look like maybe a sorbet instead of an ice cream. So you still get the sweetness, but it's going to be a bit healthier, avoiding the dairy and the cream, and a lot of times like high fructose corn syrup and things like that. Or you can try a coconut milk ice cream.
Elder John, your face is priceless. I just
I
want
know,
to
Yes.
know.
I see the rolling
I'm
eyes.
trying to fix it. I'm trying.
Try a coconut. What?
Coconut.
So there's actually a brand called Coconut Bliss that tastes, I mean, it really does taste like bliss. It tastes great. So you'd be surprised at how some of these things taste.
But you said
Some
try a coconut what? Try coconut?
coconut ice cream, and that's if you're looking for ice cream. If you're looking for chocolate, go for that 75% dark chocolate. Don't go for the Reese's cup. If
Oh
you're
no.
looking for the flavor of chocolate and peanut butter, they actually have dark chocolate peanut butter cups and dark chocolate almond butter cups. So those are going to be cleaner options for you. Or you can kind of make your own little rendition. You can do, let's say you took a rice cake and put almond butter or peanut butter on it and put dark chocolate chips on it. Like that would be a nice little treat that still tastes good, but it's going to be cleaner. So, and by cleaner meaning avoiding food dyes, avoiding unnecessary chemicals like pesticides and things like that, avoiding high fructose corn syrup, avoiding additional preservatives. That's what I mean by cleaner, like a cleaner option. So the reason why we want to
Oh,
avoid,
I'm sorry.
I'm
Dr.
sorry, say
Zoe,
that
then
again.
in regards to ice cream,
Mm-hmm.
a cleaner version, would that also include the like non-dairy ice creams? Is it so or those
So delicious, that brand.
yeah, those non-dairy ice creams, would that be included as a cleaner version?
So it definitely could. So delicious. I believe they make a rice milk, an oat milk, and a soy milk. I believe and an almond milk ice cream. The almond milk ice cream is not so creamy. The oat milk will be, and then a coconut milk ice cream. Those two will be the creamier ones. If you want to take it a step further, so an easy way to make homemade ice cream is freezing bananas. So if you freeze the bananas, put it in a blender, and if let's say you want chocolate ice cream, you can just add cocoa powder to it, and you put it in a container, put it in the freezer. So when you're ready for it, you just scoop it out like you would ice cream. So it still has the flavor you're looking for, the creaminess, but it really is just frozen fruit. So oftentimes for
Mm.
my patients who have little children, I'll have them do that with their fruits, like whether it's strawberry or blueberries. I'll have them freeze it, blend it down. If they need to sweeten it, they can use a little bit of honey or a little bit of fruit juice. Usually you need a little bit of liquid when you're blending it. And they put it in their container, stick it in the freezer. So when their child wants, a treat or ice cream, they're scooping out literally just frozen organic fruit, but it tastes good.
So fruit with honey and
You
if you
can,
want chocolate, you use cocoa powder.
mm-hmm.
What do you use for the liquid? The honey?
So you can use water. So you're not going to use it that much honey for it to be considered a full liquid. So you can use water, and you're probably doing like a quarter cup of water, or even if you use a juice, do a 100% juice, like a grape juice, because it will act as a sweetener. Another thing that can act as a sweetener is adding either a couple of dates to it, or bananas if you're not doing the frozen banana ice cream.
Hmm.
So it sweetens it nicely and it tastes good and it doesn't leave you feeling bloated or gassy or guilty.
Oh, guilty.
All that. Pastor John.
I don't think Pastor John has any guilt with his.
Oh no. What made you think that? Guilt?
Oh no.
Oh no.
And
Guilt.
honestly, ideally, I wouldn't want anyone to see when they are eating something. So it's a matter of, I mean, when we're looking at the fruits of the spirit, self-control. So when we're making any decision, why are we making the decision that we're making? So if I'm avoiding, actually just so for Holy Week, I I promised Anthony ice cream prior to that, and we forgot to go. So I ended up taking him, but I was fasting. I did get ice cream, but I stuck it in the freezer. And I said, all right, I'll eat it on Sunday, Easter, when I break my fast. I haven't eaten it yet, but when it comes to those things, yes, I want to partake in the enjoyment of that with my family, but at the same time, I have to ask myself, what am I choosing this for? So when we're choosing healthy foods, why am I choosing healthy foods? Is it punishment? Or are we doing this because we want to actually better our lives, right? Because a lot of times we can treat healthy living like punishment when really that's the reward. It's not punishment.
Mm.
So
So
and that.
I'm
Hmm.
sorry. So just to go back for a second. So
Hmm.
self-control. I noticed you said self-control, which is one of
Yeah.
the fruit of the temperance, right? Is that what we call it? Temperance, self-control. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, it is important to have that then, even when
Hmm.
you're choosing to eat foods, even if it's something, it's natural. You
Hmm.
still have to apply a spiritual principle to the
Yeah.
natural, because that's what you're saying. In essence, you have to have some type of a self-control,
Hmm.
versus trying to, appease the flesh, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I'm picking this up now. I'm kind of seeing some things here.
Well, and that,
So
and
if I
sorry, go
don't
ahead.
exercise self-control
Hmm.
in certain food areas, then I can't blame God for certain things, because He's
Yeah.
given us the mindset and the will to have control, even with your
Yeah.
bodies.
Yep.
Be in subjection, keep it under subjection. So,
Hmm.
I'm seeing the correlation there between self-control and excessive, indulgence, so to speak.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's a good point.
So what? But and these are things that we think about. So even when we can recognize our body as our temple, but then we have to ask ourselves, is what I'm doing bringing glory to God? If I eat this thing that I know is going to cause congestion or a headache or joint pain, or I'm going to have to unbutton my pants because that's what this food does, does this bring glory to God? If we're as Christians, everything we do, we're supposed to do it unto Him. So
Mm.
is this glorifying Him? Is this honoring Him in what we're doing?
So
And if it,
you're
hmm?
referencing to what did they call one of the seven deadly sins is not gluttony.
Gluttony.
Hmm.
Gluttony, one
But
of those.
Yep.
so Pastor John, in his bullet points, one of the things that he mentioned was um, in terms of us eating and depression and it being more of a spirit. But when we're gluttony is one of those things.
Hmm.
We in, the thing that we should indulge in the most is the Word. It's God,
Hmm.
because he's the way, the truth, and the life. So if there's any deficiency in any area of our life, we already have the answer to it. Like that's the bread of life we should be eating,
Hmm.
not the world's bread, so to speak. Because if we eat the world's bread, we're actually going to get the world's result, which is what we're trying to
Mm.
avoid. But if we're eating the Father's bread, if we're drinking from living waters, we're going to get spiritual fruit. We're going to get spiritual blessing.
Yeah.
So, and it's really just about us asking ourselves those basic foundational questions. Why am I doing X, whatever it is? So I made my matcha tea taste good because I'd rather not feel like I'm drinking dirt tonight. but but are there times when I make it with just hot water? Yes, I do, because it's in that regard, it's more so a means to an end. So, but it still can be both beneficial and tasty. So again, us living righteously, us doing the healthy thing is not meant to be a punishment. It's actually meant to give us freedom,
Hmm.
right? So it's boundaries give us freedom. Following the statutes of Christ gives us freedom in this world because it allows us to live freely and love wholly through faith, knowing that we're fully covered. And that's the same with any other healthy boundary in life. Our boundaries give us freedom because it defines what's safe and what isn't, what's healthful and what's detrimental.
Mm.
So it's really like I heard it somewhere, someone mentioned, we often consider our junk food as treat, but really it's poison. And it's not,
Ooh.
but in so it and it literally is. If we're reading, the back of a Twinkie, it's really all chemical. You're not
Who?
seeing,
I don't think
whole.
anybody's read a back of a Twinkie.
No, if you're eating that, you just eat it and you don't think
Yeah,
about it.
ain't nobody I know.
Mm. But these are things, the things that we consider a treat, are they
Yeah.
really treats or are we hurting ourselves? So these are just things that we have to think about and be cognizant of really how much the world has transformed our mind, and
Hmm.
and then submitting that to God and let God transform our mind. Because
Well,
there we
I
hmm
think I think in that context, when it's put in that kind of context, then knowledge is power, because you have to remember
hmm
that um, the world promotes the food. We've grown up with them promoting foods the
Yeah.
way they promote the foods. So what we're saying, the treats that are the poisons are the treats, if you see what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Yep.
Um, but there isn't anyone, there isn't this mass platform, or they haven't been until recently, where it's been the flipped way around, where the health
Yeah.
foods are coming out. And even when they are doing it nowadays, um, they're not always making it accessible for those who have economic hardships. It's
Right.
cheaper.
Yeah.
Imagine, it should be cheaper to buy what's healthy,
Yeah.
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 but
Absolutely.
instead the world makes it that it's harder, more expensive to buy what's healthy. And
Mhm.
so you have many families. I know when I worked in New York, especially in some of the areas with the families, that it was difficult for them, with a family of six,
Yeah.
to buy the
Yeah.
healthy for the family of six. It was
Yeah.
cheaper to get the unhealthy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Pork and beans and
Yeah.
stuff.
To get the fast food, to get the box thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and
Macaroni.
that has to do with who's driving the money again.
Yeah.
The money and economics, and unfortunately
Yeah.
a lot of times the people are the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's, you know,
It's good.
and my dad would say this a lot. He would, I believe it's in Proverbs, but he would speak about the scripture where it says, "Wisdom is the principal thing, but in all you're getting, get
And
understanding."
understanding.
Understanding.
And it is true that if you're a family of two, three, or four, it's not too big of a difference in terms of grocery shopping and buying the healthier things. But when you start to get to actually once you start to get to four, five, six, eight members of your family, that those numbers go up.
Hmm.
To try and provide wild caught salmon for a family of eight, every night, that can get pricey, especially when you're trying to do things the right way. And with those things, usually what I will caution people to do is to do a slow transition. Um, as things run out in the house, you replace it with the things that are cleaner, or healthier, or better. And then it also allows you to remove some of the junk. So junk would include cereal. Cereals are very highly processed. They're convenient, but they're not beneficial for us.
Did you say
So,
cereal?
mhm,
Cereal. Oh, okay.
So now that's that word that you use there is key also in terms of people's lifestyle. It's convenient.
Right.
yeah,
It's convenient. You know, when I first got married, one of the things that I tried to incorporate, and I have more success of it now, is that they were very used to all the vegetables came out of a tin.
Oh,
Every vegetable was coming from a tin.
you
Um,
can do.
and so I would try doing the fresh vegetables, but they
mhm,
wouldn't get eaten. So they just keep getting spoiled. So
okay,
then I had to find the middle ground for me was that I will buy freshly frozen
Yeah.
okay,
vegetables,
Hmm.
mhm,
and do the frozen then at least. So we're not living on the tin
yeah.
kind of thing.
But
Um,
that
but
and
that,
that's
that
a good,
even that was a hard transition.
yeah. And it depends on where a person is at. I had someone tell me one time, I most people uh know me for how I make my string beans. They're very simple, but everybody loves them. And my son's aunt actually, she ate them. Now she's used to her vegetables coming out of a can, and she ate it and she spit it out. And this is after her brother was telling her how great they were. And she said, "I'm sorry, I can't eat these." She said, "They're too fresh." She said, "I know they taste good. I'm just not used to this." And she spit them out. And I wasn't offended at all, but it just goes to show you where a person is at. I someone can give you fresh, clean, organic snap green beans, saute it with garlic and olive oil, and because that person is used to something that's overly processed and preserved for probably way too long, because their taste buds are not used to it, they can't even tolerate that healthier, cleaner food.
Mm.
And it truly is a transition, especially depending on who you're speaking
Mm.
I saw my dad made a transition years and years ago, and it's just been remarkable. He's 89 years old now, but he
Mm.
Bless
still
him.
right now he does not go to a vegetable store. In his little garden, he grows every vegetable.
to. Nice.
He
Oh,
goes
wow.
to the back and he picks a cauliflower. He will tell you that he eats half a cauliflower every day.
Hmm.
That he'll have a boiled egg and a slice, a half of a grapefruit or orange in the morning every
Mhm.
day. And at 89, he's still briskly running around the place as if he's, 60 or so. He really
Mhm.
is. But he made that transition, and it saved him a lot of money because he's on an income now. He's on a pension.
Yeah.
So having to be able to just go outside and get all his vegetables and his
Mhm.
potatoes, his whatever, has helped him economically. And I think I would love to be able to do that here where I am. Truthfully,
Mhm.
I've thought about it, doing a vegetable garden and stuff like that. We just have so many wild rabbits and squirrels. I'd need a greenhouse, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well, I've so a few of my friends have it. I made a mini one. I'm in a condo, so I don't have much outside space. I have a lemon tree. I had a pepper plant, but I have to grow a new one. But even if you grow one or two things, because growing your own fruits and veggies is awesome. Like that's as fresh as you can get it. You
Mm.
pick it out the dirt, rinse it, and you eat it. So foods like that have the most vital force. So they literally are the most electrically charged and the most nutrient dense because they're as fresh as you can get them. So especially if you grow it in their season and in the right environment. So getting the proper sunlight that they need. Some seeds actually require frozen and cold before the sunlight, but it when plants get what they need, what's natural to them in the season that they typically grow, that's actually when they are most nutrient dense because they've gone through literally whatever hardships they need to make the fruit that they need to make. So if I mean, I don't know if you and whoever is in your household, if you guys want to grow one little thing just to see how it goes, even if it's a plant indoors, maybe you guys each have a fresh string bean when they grow. Um,
Have to
but
try it.
it's what's nice about it too, and you can even talk to your dad about it. It's from your hand, like it's from your effort. You tilled the land, you grew that fruit or that vegetable, you took care of it, and you made sure that it was good enough to eat, and now you're reaping the harvest of your labor. So, and it's definitely serving your body way better than potentially a store-bought food or something that's been overly preserved or canned.
I think I'd have to learn a little bit more. He's definitely a green thumb man. You give him a dried piece of stick, and the next couple of months
That,
it's blossoming flowers. Me, me on the other hand, well, you know what? I'm learning because I have been able
hmm
to keep a plant alive for 2.5 years so far.
Okay, that's
So
good.
I'm working on it. Working on it.
hmm I
Good.
am I'm hit or miss. If I can grow it from a seed, usually it will survive. My mom bought me a plant today. She said I can't kill it. I said we'll see. So we'll see how it goes. But if I like my maybe I can show you guys my lemon tree. I've had it. This is the fourth year now, so I'm hoping to have some fruit. Hey, where'd it go? There we go. So that's my
Okay.
lemon tree. It's about 3.5 feet tall, and that's the plant my mom got me today.
Nice.
So my hope is that I get there we go. Wait, I pressed it too many times. My hope is that I get some fruit this year because it's 3 to 5 years where the lemon tree will produce fruit. So we'll see. But that I grew from a seed.
So what did your mom give you today?
I don't know what kind of plant it is. I just
Oh,
know I just know that it's green and it looks very vibrant, and I hope it stays that way.
mm.
It's some type of hanging plant, and if she says I can't kill it, I'll take her word for it. But I've had an interesting relationship with plants, so we'll see. Uh, did do you guys have any other questions in terms of what we spoke about so far?
I think my questions are going to be geared towards, like I was saying when you were frozen, my son.
You said
Trying to
frozen.
no, I'm yeah, when you were frozen, I was saying that the questions that I
Oh,
have really are in regards to getting my son to broaden his palate. Um,
oh, okay.
when he was younger, I was so happy. I thought, oh, thank you, Jesus. My child loves vegetables. Oh, this is so good. I can give him vegetables on top of vegetables, and he
Mm-hmm.
eats them. Now
How old's your son again, Pastor J?
he's 8 now. He just
How
turned 8
Okay.
last
how
week.
old's your son, Doctor Zoe?
He's 11.
11. Okay, so you're
So,
pretty close.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can get broccoli into him now, but it
Mm-hmm.
has to be a certain. It has to be cooked a certain way.
Okay.
He'll eat daddy's collard greens
Okay.
that have everything in it that you shouldn't have.
When did he start to make the transition from veggie, like not liking them as much?
I want to say he might have been about. I want to say 4 or 5. It might actually be when he started going to kindergarten.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and I was so same thing with my son. Like all he knew was Ezekiel bread, and he always ate it. And then he went to kindergarten, and he said, "Mommy, my friends have a white bread. I want white bread." And he called it white with a P, white bread.
Wipe.
Yes. Um, and he actually he didn't understand that why his food was different, so he would barter a lot, and he'd barter his organic lunch for Oreos or Doritos. And I ended up having to just make him two lunches just so that he could still have his lunch, but he could share with someone else.
Oh wow.
Um, we haven't gone back to the Ezekiel bread so much, but we've actually now we're just fully gluten free because I can't have the gluten. But it so the more exposed he's been to other not so great foods, the more his curiosity has been pricked. And he's tried them. Like I'm not so staunch that he's had cupcakes, Doritos, pizza. He's had all of those things. And in the right situation, I will allow it. I don't do allow it often. So, but he knows in this house, like if he decides, and I don't know if this happens with you, um, but depending on the day, my son might say, "Oh, broccoli's poison. I can't eat that." And I say, "Oh, okay. Well, when you get hungry enough, you can have some."
Broccoli's poison.
Yeah.
I love broccoli.
Uh, and
Save
it's
your life.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now what I realize with my son is I think he likes variety. So I I try to cook to have enough leftovers for a few days, but he doesn't care for that too much. So when I cook, I'll always make a salad because he'll always eat a salad. I can throw kale and peppers and cucumbers, and he'll eat that any day of the week. Um, and it now and with that, like with your son, if he's slowly getting back into the veggies, with whatever he will eat, stick with those things. But he's also old enough that he's not going to let himself starve. So as you make the changes, make them little changes. But as you make them, if he doesn't want to have it, you know what? That's okay. You'll have breakfast in the morning. And it.
and
Tough love.
I wish. Look, I can try to do that again.
Mhm.
He does know how to sneak off to the other half, who will allow.
Okay.
So then I will then see the two of them sneaking off with a tin of COKE,
Okay.
and
So
I'm like,
well.
"Have you had your water today? Have that kind of thing?"
Mhm.
So he I think that one of the things that I'm trying to do as well right now is to figure
Mhm.
out how to, like you said, the different flavors.
Mhm.
So okay, fine, I can get you to eat the broccoli. What are the flavors of this? How can I do this in a different way so that you'll try it then,
Yeah.
or another vegetable. He's never done the carrots really.
Okay.
He will do the celery, and in the dip
Okay.
kind of thing, um, and cucumbers
Mhm.
that he will do. But if you put a salad in front of him, he's not going to eat it. He's going to pick out croutons.
Okay. So, but you know what? But then maybe keep it simple. Let him have celery sticks and cucumbers as snacks. That way he's still getting green veggies in and he likes them. And even when it comes to sodas, it, and that's something, maybe you and your husband talk about, hey, let's make sure that he's getting in at least this much water before he has a soda, and let's make this commitment to ourselves because we want our son to grow up to be healthy. And again, it's that, the perspective on our food. We can look at soda as a treat and we can feel like we're being slighted if we don't have that treat. But if I told you, hey, every time, you give your child soda, not only is it increasing his cholesterol, but also increasing his risk of diabetes and heart disease even at his age. Most
Mm.
parents don't want their children to have any
Right.
disease. You know, so it's really a matter of, again, wisdom is the key thing, but in all our getting, we need to get understanding. And a real treat would be, honestly, one of my favorites is roasted walnuts with fresh blueberries. And it sounds simple, but the flavors together taste awesome. So, and it's surprisingly satisfying. But that's a great treat if you are looking for a dessert, whether it's a cupcake, a cheesecake, a brownie. Usually, that combination of the slight bitterness from a roasted walnut, but the sweetness from a blueberry, and the freshness from it, the combination is just really nice. So, and it will tend to, satisfy whatever craving we're having. And again, if we're something as simple as soda, if he's gonna have soda, fill his cup with ice all the way to the top, so he's having less soda. But he does have to finish. My son, I tell him he needs to drink at least 32 ounces of water a day, but he has to finish at least 16 to 20 ounces before he can have any juice. So, and that's and it, because he knows that, he'll go and reach for juice. I'm like, oh, where's your water bottle? And I'll say, is it empty? No. Okay, well, make sure you do that first before you get juice. And I don't bother him. I trust him enough to do it. He drinks it, and then he can have his juice. Typically, I'll cut his juice in half as well too with water, just again, just so that he can get some additional water. But something like that, let's say I don't know how much water your son drinks, but that might be a good way of getting water in, is just cutting his juice with water so that way he gets a little bit more. And if
That's
he
it.
says this tastes watered down, say, oh, no, no, it's the fresh brand, and then just it's just more refreshing.
He has his days. He has his days when he will drink water, 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 water. But for the
Okay.
most part, it will be he will want to go for the soda, and I will have to say to him, like you said, "I'm sorry, you've had some soda like today. I saw they had some soda. I'm like, okay, so that means you've had your quota for the day. That means the rest of the day you only get to drink water.
Yeah.
If you're thirsty, it's water. So
Hmm. Yeah. You slow little transitions, and then eventually you'll get to a point where you end up not keeping certain things in the house anyways. When I have get-togethers, I don't buy soda. I and I mainly I give I give people what I give myself. So if I eat grass fed, I give others grass fed. If I eat wild caught, I give others wild caught. If I eat organic, I give others organic. So I'll give the same quality to other people that I give myself. If they want soda, they can definitely bring it, but I'm not going to buy Pepsi or Coca-Cola and bring it into my house. I just won't. If I know, if, depending on who's coming over, if I know I have certain people who like the bubbly stuff, I will mix, a clean seltzer with a 100% juice so that they have the sparkle, just to facilitate that taste. Because I'm not trying to be
that's
mean
what
to my guests.
right. That's what I tend to drink. The
Okay.
seltzer because I want the fizz. I
Yes.
want the fizz. I don't have to have the sugar, but I want the fizz.
Okay.
So I will mix it with, you know, mix it with any juice, anything.
Okay.
But I'll
And
do the salsa waters for myself.
and that might be a nice, transition for your son, instead of soda, to do a juice with seltzer, so that way he still has the fizz. It'll be a nice transition away from it. So, and again, slowly, but it's a nice way to do it, so that way he doesn't feel completely deprived.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you very
Um,
much.
I w- I wanted to talk about the other side of the emotional eating, and that's more so when it comes to habits. So us inheriting, dietary habits just from how we were raised.
Yeah.
And a lot, almost not almost always in every culture, food is associated with every big event. So whether it's a burial, a wedding, a birthday, a holiday, any type of celebration, a cookout, a season change, there's always food associated. So we naturally, subconsciously, we associate food with a good time. And usually, if those are comfort foods, we're already getting those dopamine surges with the foods that we're choosing. So it just makes it easier to make those associations. The
Mm.
reality of it, though, is that those moments have nothing to do with how good the food is. It has everything to do with the people that we're around. That's what makes it a good
Mm.
time. The relational interactions is what makes it a good time, and what can also provide that dopamine increase that we look for naturally. So, but because there's always food associated, we automatically it's like when we're making memories in our brain, we do that from what we see, what we taste, and what we smell. So when we smell something familiar, it triggers a past memory that brings us to a significant moment in time, which oftentimes is a good time. So that's how we often will choose foods that may not always be the healthiest for us, but because it's associated with a good time, healthy time meaning relationally a healthy time, it makes us want to go for those foods more often. But the reality is that we don't have to have any of those foods, because if we had a salad versus a ham, or organic roasted turkey versus something else, we would still have just as much of a good time with our family because we love them, because we're accepted by them, we feel safe around them, we're able to kind of relax and just hang out. But it's not the food that creates that environment. It contributes to the experience, but it's not the foundation of the experience. It's the relationship that's the foundation of those experiences. But we get those confused often.
So I got a question. So,
Hmm.
I have to ask now. Most of us are, from the island, the Caribbean backgrounds, and most of our parents, ancestors, parents, grandparents, we are so used to cooking Sunday dinner
Hmm.
on Sunday, and so you associate chicken and rice and peas. It can't be Sunday without certain things. So you're saying that it's not the foods that gives us those dopamine feelings, and it's the family. So our concentration is not shouldn't be on the food then. It should be
Exactly.
on the
So, for
family.
instance, if all the food was there, but you were there by yourself, would you not that you would probably still enjoy the food, but would you enjoy that? Would you enjoy Sunday dinner, the experience of Sunday dinner, as much if you were there by yourself?
Probably not.
So, and that's really what it is. So, again, fats and sugars will still trigger our dopamine centers and give us that euphoria, that happy feeling. Those foods do that no matter what. But if when we're around family and we're experiencing that, we then attribute it to the food giving us this great experience when it's not. It can contribute to the experience, but it's not making the experience
It it,
because
it
it
doesn't make the experience.
no. And so, case in point, for
Y'all need to
instance,
help me.
well, but
You like, yeah, you like scratch your head.
Y'all need to help me with that.
have you ever
How does chicken not on a Sunday and rice and peas? How does that not contribute to the fact?
no, it
It's
can. So what? Again, it contributes, but it's not like if you ate a completely healthy meal, feeling light and energized would make you feel just as happy, if not happier. But having family around, just the food enhances the experience of the relationship.
Okay.
And that's how I would put it. So, for instance, even if you do like chicken in and of itself is not bad. Rice and peas in and of itself is not bad. It really has more to do with the preparation.
Yeah.
So I honestly, I was last week, had a craving for collard greens, rice and peas, and brown stew chicken.
Yes.
So that's what I made for Easter.
Mm.
But my chicken was organic.
I was gonna
I
say your
yeah,
chicken is a little
all
different from ours, Doc.
no, but but it really is as simple as just choosing that better quality meat. That's really it. I had my fresh thyme that's organic. I cut up my fresh garlic, my fresh peppers, my seasonings. Everything was organic. My rice was organic. My beans were organic. The collard greens were organic. I did not put any meat in my collard greens. I sauteed some
No
chopped
pork.
onions and garlic in the pan with olive oil, and then I added my greens in with a few other spices, and I used a little bit of broth and added the rest water, and I let it cook down like that, and they taste just as good. So what I did was I kept it clean.
Why do you do that? Elder John's like this.
He's trying to figure it out. Like, how does that add up to it tasting good?
Y'all. I'm
My
trying to
husband
figure
would probably differ on that, but
it.
I,
yeah, I
you
mean,
know what?
you know what?
I,
I'm a flavor person, so you know what?
mm-hmm,
All of the things that you're talking about, I could, I don't mind eating them. I would do the chickpeas, whatever it is. It's
yeah,
flavored. I like flavor,
Right.
yeah.
you know.
So,
So and textures. So
I would same here. Honestly, my son can eat spicier food than I can
Hmm.
because as a baby, I didn't believe in not seasoning his food. I said, you're gonna eat what I eat because when you get old enough, that's what you're gonna eat anyway. I said,
mhm.
and we're not having any discrepancies. So,
That's one
so
way,
I
good way of looking at it. Yeah.
and I didn't over season. I just I how it whatever I cooked for myself, I blended it and I gave it to him, and that was his baby food. So he can tolerate spicier food than I can. But he was eating fresh garlic from young because I put it in his peas and I put it in his spinach.
Oh wow.
So and now, but he eats all of his veggies, but he can take the spice. He can take herbs and all those different flavors.
So you know what I think with as Elder John was saying Sunday
Hmm.
dinner. I think for a lot of us, then a lot of people, um, food is almost like a sidebar
Hmm.
until you're making your dinner meal on Sunday. Do you know what I'm saying? That's why all
Yeah,
the focus went to Sunday dinner, because throughout the week it was more like a sidebar. What was in the closet? What could you grab? What was quick? Let's eat, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
hmm,
But the way that you're
yeah,
talking, when you talk about your son and you're saying you gave him fresh garlic and this and that, I'm thinking to myself, this is very deliberate. You were very even as a baby, you were very deliberate about what
yeah,
went into his mouth, right?
yeah.
Oh gosh,
So
most of us
You're
just
and
eat.
such a
but
good
Most of
mother.
us, most of us
well,
eat what's put
you
in
know
front
what
of
it
us,
is?
right?
I'm sorry, say
Jesus.
that again.
I said most of us are used to eating whatever was put in front of us, and then we then eat whatever we have, not
Yeah.
search to see what would go together deliberately to make a better meal.
Yeah, and then and I will, my family, we came from humble beginnings. So whatever my mother cooked is what we ate. You didn't have There wasn't no a la carte, here's a menu and choose your pick. No.
A la what?
You
No.
What was put in front of you is what you ate, and if you didn't want to
Mm.
eat it, you ate it
It's,
for
it's,
breakfast. So
you
because you
start
weren't
or
going to
you
waste
stay
food.
hungry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I definitely keep that in mind as well too, because we don't want to be wasteful. But to your point, I was intentional about it because I wanted to, one, knowing what I know, my mind was, if I can give him the best nutrients for at least the first 7 years of his life while his brain is developing and his digestive tract is developing, he'll
Right.
have a much sturdier immune system moving forward in life than if I don't. So his first 7 years of life, I was very intentional. I didn't let things come in, at least not purposefully. Things still came in, but I was just very intentional about it on purpose. Now he's 11 now, but I the goal is he notices things. He has certain little allergies, and he'll get allergic shiners, like he'll get dark rings under his eye, and he'll say, "Mommy, why do I look like a raccoon?" I said, "Well, because when you went to your friend's house and you ate the cupcakes and the pizza, you can't have that. So, if you don't want those dark rings, then you have to make the better decision. You know what you can have and you know what you can't have. And I can't force you, and I'm not going to, he's old enough where I'm not going to be on his back like that. But he'll get the dark circles and he'll get eczema. When he gets uncomfortable enough, he stops doing it.
See, now I've
So,
never associated a dark circle with an allergy. So the question
yeah,
came to my mind straight away. Could we be experiencing allergic reactions to foods we've eaten without even knowing that that's what it is?
Of
absolutely.
course.
Wow.
Most people do. Most people do. Allergies can look like dark circles under our eyes. It can look like eczema, dry skin,
No.
bumps on our skin. It can look like fatigue, headaches. It can look like constipation or gas and bloating. It can look like mucus production, where maybe we're blowing our nose a lot in the morning. It
Wow.
can look like any one of those things. It can look like joint pain.
Wow.
It can look like low
Okay.
back pain. So allergies, we know the typical allergy example would be like hives, but that's only one representation of allergy.
Wow.
So yeah, nausea and vomiting could even represent an allergy.
So now that would be interesting to look at, but you would not be able to know what that is unless you were actually went and had testing and was diagnosed. Is that correct?
So you could test or you can do something called an elimination diet.
Okay.
So you essentially remove all of what would be known to be common allergens from the diet, and you do that for a minimum of 4 weeks. And then you would slowly bring each of those foods in one at a time. So you'd add, let's say you removed gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, soda. You removed a ton of things, and your diet was super simple and clean. After those 4 weeks, you'd bring dairy in for 1 week and see how you do. And if you start to have a reaction, you know that your body doesn't tolerate it well. So then you'd remove it. And then you try the next week, you try a different food. Whatever foods you tolerate, you'd likely keep in. Some foods you might find there's a threshold where if you have it once in a week, you're fine. But if you have it 3 or 4 times in a week, you may have a reaction. Now, that might be more of a food sensitivity and not a food allergy.
Mm.
So that's one way of doing it. So some people will notice when they remove foods out and they bring it back in, they may notice, oh, that's the food that causes me to bloat, or that's the food that causes my left-sided headaches, and this is the food that causes the right-sided headaches.
Wow.
Um, and it can literally be that detailed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So food, our relationship with food has to turn into two things. Food can be medicine or poison, but food is also a tool. So whatever our tool is in our profession, whether it's our computers, a hammer, a chalkboard, whatever our tool is, we don't. The tool isn't the job. The tool isn't the thing. It's how we use it. So food is a means to an end. We need it for nutrients. Yeah, essentially that's what we need food for. We need it for nutrients. We can also enjoy it, but enjoyment would be secondary to its main job, which is to nourish our body. So food is a tool. If you're going to hammer a nail in the wall, a hammer is ideal, but if you have a wrench and it's big enough, you can do that. You can hammer it in as well with that too, right? You're not going to not hammer because you don't have a hammer. You're going to do whatever you need to do. So with food, we use it for what it's for, and the main thing is to nourish the body. So we shouldn't not eat just because we may think it we won't like it.
Mm.
This is good. Some good stuff here. I don't want to end up telling on myself, but but I think pointing towards, you know, a lot of us eat certain things during the week,
Hmm.
but like you said, we just talked about, all most Christians on Sundays, we eat chicken. But
Hmm.
you said I eat chicken, but organic chicken.
Hmm.
So it's a matter of making better choices then, you
Yes.
know, that's going to, because, I'll go to the store and just pick up, see a chicken breast and just, pick that one up without going to the organic section and looking at the chicken
Yeah.
breast, even though I
Hmm.
know organic foods are definitely better, but because you're so locked into just grabbing it and going,
Hmm.
and plus the organic it may be $1 or $2 more, $3, it just depends. So you don't even think,
Yeah.
you just automatically, because that's how we're wired. So I
Yeah.
think it's a matter of understanding, like you said, in all you're getting, get understanding. And I think understanding
Yeah.
understanding why organic chicken is better for you than just
Hmm.
regular, chicken. Or there's other types of chicken, like what's that, what they say, um something grown
Oh, like the
Homegrown.
no hormones and no
no home,
antibiotics,
yeah,
the
is
free
that
range
it
and
now,
cage
is
free.
that type of chicken
Free
is,
from cage free,
huh?
cage free. They say something like
So
cage free
free
eggs and
range,
cage free.
Free
yeah,
range.
free range, cage free, no hormones and no antibiotics.
Right. So,
Now,
I'd be confused thinking, okay, maybe I should get that one, or should I go to the organic
mhm,
section, or should I just get the you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's just a matter of, I guess, understanding then, or making better choices to what's going to
yeah,
go into this temple, because
yeah,
what goes in here, is what's going to either hurt me or help me. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So at the same time, because all what I'm putting in is going to trigger certain things, which
Yeah.
may bring me to a place, so it's just a matter of making better choices. So
Yeah.
on the chicken topic,
Yes.
which chicken? Is it Purdue? I mean,
Tyson's.
is it Tyson's? I mean, who has the best?
So
Or just go
so
for organic, period.
so organic is always going to be the best
Oh,
option.
Lord Jesus.
Um, and now I can also tell you my personal preference. When I'm looking at, like, when I look at Purdue and it says no hormones and no antibiotics,
Right.
I don't know if you've noticed, but all of their chicken breasts are pretty much the exact same size and shape. In nature, nature has variety.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen in nature where there's any any two things that are exactly alike. Even if you're picking blueberries from the same blueberry bush, you're gonna see a green one, a blue one, a big one, a small one. One has a bigger flower than the other. No two things are exactly alike. So I don't really trust anything that
Uh-oh. You froze again, Doc.
That Purdue spirit.
Or is it Tyson?
I don't buy Purdue because of don't. Shop at from what I know, and I've looked into both companies years ago. Tyson might be a smidge cleaner. I
A
I want to
smidge.
say Tyson, yeah, a smidge, but I do think Tyson has some organic variety. I've seen it in Costco. Typically, what I will get is my organic chicken from Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. Trader Joe's will usually have better prices. And I don't know if you guys have Aldi's
Yeah.
down there. Okay, so
Yeah.
Aldi's is really like a Trader Joe's, but the prices are even lower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
I
now,
noticed that. I,
yeah,
I did buy some chicken from Aldi's, I think 2 weeks ago, as a matter of
okay.
fact. Yeah. And it just tastes different to me.
But those, well, so and now if it's organic, I would expect you, if it's truly organic, I would expect you to notice the difference between an organic piece of meat and a non-organic, a conventionally grown.
Yeah.
The fat consistency is different. Even in, I can remember growing up, anytime we were taking the fat off chicken, it was like fighting with it because it wouldn't come off. And when I switched to organic, it literally, I didn't even need a knife to take it off. I could just pick it off. But the fat composition is different in animals who are conventionally raised and conventionally grown compared to organic. The
Yeah.
food, and it's because the food is different. So, and while they say chickens are not supposed to have hormones, um, but they've, whenever the government or our food um, association makes a change, it gives farms um, a weaning process. So even though it may say that, okay, you're not supposed to put hormones in your chicken anymore, that that any one particular farmer can have 10 to 20 years, depending on what the FDA decides, for them to wean out all of those chickens.
Wow.
So while they may not have any additionally added hormones, there still may be exogenous hormones present. Usually, if an animal has been given antibiotics, it's because it was given hormones to speed up their growing. So, and they end up getting infections because it's doing something that's not natural to their body.
Right.
So
Mm.
that's why organic usually is the better route. Now, turkey is a better poultry than chicken. It's just a cleaner poultry. Um, Turkey can
Look at
taste
his face.
very good, Elder John. Most things that you can now, and I'm not talking about like a fried chicken leg versus a fried turkey leg. Um, I'm not comparing those, so that's a little different. But something that I've done in the past, and usually when it's in season, I will buy the turkey legs and I'll put it in a slow cooker and make pulled turkey.
Oh, that's
And everyone has always loved it.
Whole turkey.
Uh, yeah, so like instead of pulled pork, I make
Oh,
pulled
I thought
turkey.
you said cold, COLD.
So
Cold turkey.
if I want to make my own lunch meat, I'll buy the big turkey breast and I'll season it and I'll roast it and then I'll just slice it and I'll make sandwiches from that or I'll chop it up and put it on top of my salad.
So turkey, you eat turkey, Doc. I'm just,
Yes, I
I'm
actually do
just.
more
Oh,
turkey
okay,
than chicken. Yeah.
okay.
Now part of that has to do with and I think you remember, but I have done a lot of work with nutrition and blood type.
Yeah, yeah,
So um at my blood type I can do chicken, but Brian can't. So I've always stuck with turkey for years.
Right.
So in general, it's just a better poultry for any person.
So since you're switching, I mean, this is good, by the way. What's the difference? Because since we're talking about foods now,
Mhm.
a lot of people say they're gonna go like vegan and not eat meat
Mhm.
at all. Is
Mhm.
that for everybody?
No,
Okay.
it is not.
Thank you.
It is not. Um, and
You just saved me. No, I'm just kidding.
good. Well, but for a few reasons. One, not everyone is built to be completely vegan. Like we really have to look at what our genes are used to. And even if we bring it back to scripture, we may have originally been meant to be vegan and eat raw, but when
Mhm.
sin entered the world, God scrapped that.
Mm-mm.
and
Mhm.
and now we're eating the animals that roam the land. So we are now equipped to eat animal protein. Uh, Keeping in mind with any food that we choose, if we eat the foods that are in season, we will get the most benefit. So that could look like a season of being vegan. That could look like a season of maybe of heavier vegetables and animal protein. That could look like a season of maybe vegetables and fish, depending. So if we're looking at what's in season and we're eating what's in season, our diet will change based on the season and where we're at geographically. So, and
Wow.
our body actually can deal with that a lot better. So, like intermittent fasting kind of goes in with that. Everyone's going to vegan and intermittent fasting. Fasting can be an awesome thing, but we're not supposed to fast all year round. Like
Right.
that's not what we're supposed to do. But again, when we're looking at seasons, if you notice, there's some seasons. If we only ate what was in season, we wouldn't have nearly as much variety in the supermarket. So
Mhm.
there's time of famine and there's time of feast. Those
Mhm.
times of famine are usually times that we should fast, and there's nothing wrong with that. And fasting can look like maybe 1 or 2 meals a day, or it can look like not having certain types of food within our diet. But that's not forever.
Yeah.
So some people, in terms of vegan versus not being vegan, some people will tolerate a vegan or vegetarian diet a lot better than someone who doesn't. Like if we're looking at blood types, A's usually make a better vegan or vegetarian. O's usually do not make the best vegan or vegetarian. And part of it is, so genetically, A's don't make enough stomach acid. I'm an A. We tend to make low stomach acid. So when we eat those heavier meats, we don't have the acid to break it down. So instead of us digesting it and getting the nutrients from a heavier protein, it putrefies in our system and it causes inflammation.
Wow.
Whereas with a blood type O, typically blood type O's tend to make a lot of stomach acid. Sometimes they overproduce it. So, and that oftentimes what I'll hear in practice is if they don't eat, like if they're supposed to eat every 2 to 3 hours, if they go too long without eating, they will have that burning in their stomach. But that's a person who would do a lot better with a steak or a piece of lamb.
Mm.
So they don't owe because of that, the plant proteins that blood type O may eat, if they don't have any of the animal protein to balance it out, too much plant protein can actually cause inflammation in their body and actually can put them at high risk of colorectal cancer. And I know most people wouldn't think, how do veggies cause cancer? It's not that vegetables in and of themselves cause cancer, but certain lectins, that's a type of protein depending on the food that you're eating. And it's usually the legumes. If an O has more of that in their diet than they do the animal protein, that's where they have that higher risk of that stomach cancer, that colorectal cancer.
Ooh. I'm gonna stop asking things now. I'm going to leave it to the others to ask some questions.
But
uh,
well, that's where balance comes in too. You know, um, every person has to. We have to figure out, like when someone comes to me, my job is to figure out what's right for that person. So I don't give the same plan to everybody. You
right.
know, I if all three of you came to me, you all three would likely have completely different plans, even if you were all the same blood type. And
So
that's just because
I was going
what
to say, so
works for
where does
one
the,
person.
sorry, I'm
Hmm.
sorry. I was going to say, so where does the average person um, find this kind of information in terms of, okay, what's good for my blood type, not good for my blood type, or where are we gonna where do we find this information just readily available, or it's not, it's something you have to actually go and meet with someone like yourself and go through the processes and stuff.
So you can, there's definitely tons of books to read. And a lot more medical doctors are doing something what's called functional medicine, which is, so a naturopathic doctor does functional medicine, but in more depth. So that's just our natural training. That's what we get when we're in medical school. So you can definitely go to a naturopath to have that guidance. The journey may be a little bit quicker if you go that route, but if you choose to, read the literature and do it on your own, that's definitely a possibility as well too. So I get the patients who are just hearing about it and they have a lot of questions, and then I get the patient who's done all the reading over decades, but now they want to fine tune their process.
I can definitely vouch for the naturopath because it made a big difference a couple years ago when I went to see one for the first time. I think you recommended, of course,
Hmm.
and I'm telling you that being treated by the naturopath was, it was such a different experience that I experienced than going to a regular doctor because first of all, if they were prescribing anything after they sat down and mapped out a plan for you to cut out certain things, or they made actually a treatment plan for me,
Yeah.
which my doctor never did that ever. I mean, my 50s, never had that done before by a regular doctor. And, so it was one of the best uh, things that ever happened to me going to see the naturopath because, if I needed any type of supplements, everything was natural. It wasn't mixed with anything. It was just natural. So the supplements you were taking was natural, and it did more good. My body started to get adjusted to the things that were prescribed for me,
Yeah.
whatever I needed to help balance, what I was dealing with. So I can definitely vouch for seeing a naturopath because to me, it was a more thorough, extensive, I mean, when I got in there, they asked me every single question under the sun, so that they could get a treatment plan going for me. So they had to ask me, I mean, every question. It was such an in-depth conversation about myself and knowing what I need, what I should start doing. So it changed my life. It did. It really did.
Did they
You know.
also take into account your previous medical records as well, though?
Yes, yes. Well, they had to ask my history. They wanted my history, so I had to give them the history, what's in the family, those types of things, and how it's affecting me now. So diabetes and things like that is in my family, and so they wanted to do a thorough exam just to rule out certain things. So but whatever I needed, if I needed something prescribed, I could get it. They right there in Bridgeport, they have at the place they have a dispensary downstairs, so you get it as you leave the building. It's downstairs. You could go get it, pick it up, and it's all natural. Everything was natural. That's what I liked about it. It wasn't anything artificial or anything. It was just all natural, and so it worked. It worked with my body and things like that. So I can definitely vouch for and not going to see if you can. And the insurance paid for it too, that was shocking in itself. um, so that kind of helped me again, in the 2014, I think 2014, 2015 periods, um, going through that. So I can vouch for naturopath for sure. It's just a shame Dr. Zoe's not here in Atlanta.
I do telemedicine.
Huh?
I said I do
The
telemedicine.
telemedicine. Okay.
Hmm.
There you go, Pastor J. um, but anybody else got any questions? I do have a couple, but I'll just, hold off. And Lady P, you just, you all right?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
So I try to be careful what I eat on a regular basis. So
Yeah.
this is still good learning.
So I
And
Yeah.
I'll,
have, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
Um, I guess I did have a thought earlier on this last month sometime after my brother had passed away, because it was the second time like that. Do you know what I'm saying? In
Mhm.
my family, it was a sudden like this with no warnings. No, with my sister,
Mm.
when they did the autopsies and stuff, they couldn't find anything. There was nothing they could find. She was only 47, and
Wow.
it was like that. I mean, as literally watching TV, somebody go to the bathroom, come back, and she's gone.
Wow.
My brother, they found him unexpectedly. Now, he should have been the pillar of health. He was a martial artist. He works with the Martial Arts Federation,
Mhm.
World Federation, so travels. He was 63, but in terms of stature and flexibility and health wise, as far as we knew, he was fine. And yet,
Mhm.
um, the only thing that it was a sudden thing again, and so of course I thought to myself, oh please don't let this be something that we have no answer for again. Could it be
Yeah.
something that is hereditary that we don't know about, that kind of thing,
Mhm.
um, they were able to give me something, but they didn't do an autopsy or anything like that. What they said, it was uh, cardiovascular disease.
Okay.
um, I forgot what the first word is, astro whatever, but I was trying to find out what that was.
Atherosclerosis.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So that
Okay.
the hardening of the plaque and everything in arteries and
Yeah.
things like that, and that a blood clot could have been released to the brain. They don't know.
Okay.
It could have been a massive stroke. I don't, because they haven't given me any specifics as to
Okay.
what that was. But I do know that, as far as we know, there were no symptoms,
Mhm.
you know. So this was just out of the blue. And I'm thinking in terms of, I guess I began thinking in terms of my diet then as well. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because that has to contribute to this whole thing. I know it does.
Yeah.
So in terms of diet wise, what would you be looking at in terms of, I know they say eat Cheerios for healthy heart, but you you
Apple a
know,
day.
there you go. That isn't that the advertisement?
Keep
Healthy heart Cheerios. Um,
Yes, it
but
is.
but what should we really be looking at,
glass of wine.
especially with people of color who are prone to the pre-diabetes and prone to the cholesterol? You know what I'm saying? Um,
So yeah, there's a few things. Um, Cheerios they've associated with heart healthiness because of the association of fiber's impact on cholesterol. What many people don't know is that in 24 hours, our cholesterol can fluctuate 8 points up or down. So, and if you listen to the commercials or if you read the box, it says that it can change your cholesterol up to 8 points.
Wow.
So, Cheerios, I can't say for sure is actually benefiting someone's heart because it's within the same typical fluctuation you'd have in a day anyway. So now, is fiber beneficial for the heart? Is it beneficial for cholesterol? Absolutely. When we're looking at cholesterol, cholesterol is not cholesterol, elevated cholesterol in and of itself is not a predictor of cardiovascular disease. So, and I say that, well, the American Heart Association also says it. So that's where I'm getting that from. But I'm saying it because a lot of times we can go to the doctor's office and the higher end of the range is 200. So if you're at 201 or if you're at 198, the doctor may want to put you on a statin medication, but you may not actually need it. Some people actually need slightly higher cholesterol, which is not a bad thing. What we're looking at, two things that if someone has high or high normal cholesterol, we want to look at the ratios between the different types of cholesterol, but we also want to check other cardiovascular markers that will give us a better indication if somebody has a cardiovascular risk. So someone could have a total cholesterol of 215, which is elevated, but their good cholesterol HDL could be at like an 85 or 90, which is awesome. So that ratio is going to be like a 2.3. The ideal ratio is a 2. So when we're looking at that ratio tells us how safe or protected your heart is. So the closer to 2 we are of that in that ratio, the more cardiovascular protection we get. So we want to look more at cholesterol ratios, not just that total number. Also, when we're looking at plaques, in the vascular system, that doesn't happen necessarily because of the fats that we're eating per se. It actually happens due to inflammation in the body that causes injury to our vascular system. So diabetes can cause that. You could eat perfectly fine fat, but if your body isn't regulating sugars properly in the body, sugar damages our arteries. And what the body does is it sends out LDL, which is considered the bad cholesterol. LDL is our natural band-aid. It sends it out to patch it up. But when we do have those injuries, it's actually happening like within an artery. If it's like a little circle, we have um, we have the epidermis of it, and then we have a layer just under it. That's where the band-aid goes. So the more LDL we send out, the more it builds up. So it's like we're making a pimple under the skin of that artery. When it starts to harden, it's because that pimple has decided to pop and the body noticed it. And that popping that pimple, if that goes throughout your vascular system, that's what can cause a heart attack or a stroke. So if the body notices it, it will patch it up by calcifying it, by making it hard, because we're trying to prevent a heart attack. So the
Wow.
process of the pimple and the calcification is actually a protective mechanism that we need. However, because it's happening, that's a sign that we're having chronic inflammation, we're having injury to our vascular system, and that's what we need to work on, the inflammation, not necessarily the plaque.
And so
So
the inflammation can be caused by what number of things?
if we're eating a food that has bad fats, and bad fats would be something that are either trans fats or fats that are high in omega 6. Omega 6 is pro-inflammatory, so it creates inflammation. We do need small amounts of it to be healthy, but in the diet in America, our diet has way too much of it. So even when someone is choosing a fish oil, there's some fish oils that have omega 3, 6, and 9. We don't need any help getting in omega 6. I'd say stick with the 3, stick with the 9, which are anti-inflammatory. So healthy foods that have healthy fats would be fish, olive oil, our nuts and our seeds. Um, I would pretty much stick with olive oil. If you do any of the other oils, usually you don't want to heat them. Like if you tried an almond oil or an avocado oil, use that as a dressing instead of heating it up. If you needed a high heat oil, rice bran oil is a good high heat oil and it's pretty clean, and so is sunflower seed oil. So
Right.
coconut oil is a high heat oil as well too, but depending on who we're talking to, coconut oil isn't for everyone. Rice bran oil would be a safer bet for most people. So we want to get healthy fats. Eggs would be just fine, but eggs will look. You want those eggs to be high omega 3 eggs, and it should be cage free eggs as well too, or organic. So the eggs I get are omega 3 and they're organic.
So don't buy the least expensive egg at Walmart.
Preferably not,
Oops. Oops.
unless the least expensive is the best quality. You want to
It's
go
not.
for best quality first.
So what about brown eggs?
Brown eggs just means that they weren't bleached, which is fine, but you still want them to be omega 3. So my eggs are brown, but usually when you get brown eggs, they're different shades of brown. Like some are darker brown, some are reddish brown, some are tan. Different chickens produce different color eggs. So they're blue eggs, they're brown eggs, they're green eggs.
Green
It's
eggs and
not
ham.
uncommon. Well,
Oh wait,
the
what do you mean with bleach eggs? Wait, what? What?
so the white eggs we get in the store, those shells are bleached. They've been bleached to remove the color
Why would they bleach eggs though?
So
because
is that
white
where
is
the Easter
bright.
egg color things come from?
Oh, that's-
It so unfortunately, the food system in this country is really not the best. That's really the honest answer. But most foods in this country are bleached. We have white bread, and it doesn't need to be white. We can keep it as a whole grain. We have white rice. It doesn't need to be stripped, but they strip it anyway. The eggs are white. Um, Milk is white, but we actually don't need milk past the age of 3. But yet they promote milk as something that we need for all of these things that we don't actually need it, which is quite
I
inflammatory
thought we
fat.
needed milk till we were 20 in our 20s.
strong bones and
Three
teeth.
years old. 3 years
Calcium.
old. Your green veggies will give you calcium. Your legumes will give you calcium, and some of your nuts and seeds will give you calcium.
Lagoons.
Like your peas and your beans.
Oh,
Yeah. So those things will give you calcium. Your dark leafy green veggies like your kale, your collard, your callaloo, that's going to
So
give you calcium.
so a lot of people, which is the best rice? Because there's jasmine, there's basmati,
Hmm.
there's regular Ben Johnson's,
Charbroiled,
there's
charbroiled,
parboiled, there's which one would you go with? I heard the
So I
basmati is
basmati.
basmati.
so
That's a
Mm.
Sounds Indian.
so if I had
Is
to
it
choose, so honestly, the best grain to eat period would be like a wild rice and a quinoa, but technically they're not grains, they're actually seeds. However, if you're going to go an actual rice route, I would go with brown rice or basmati rice. I would stick with those two. You can get brown
basmati.
basmati rice, yeah,
Okay,
but I would
hmm.
stick with
not
those
white,
two.
just brown. Just
Yeah.
Oops.
So
And the
so when we're look
charbroiled, what is the charbroiled one? I mean,
so
I
so
tend to use the one only because it cooks down really well and it's nice and separate.
is it parboiled
that's
or
yeah,
charboiled?
so the parboiled rice, it's literally been part boiled. So it's been partially cooked. So that's why it cooks a little bit quicker and there's just less you have to do with it.
Is
But
that good?
so hmm?
Is that
That I
good?
mean, that's not that it being parboiled in it of it itself is not a bad thing, but we're looking at what that grain went through to get to the store.
Lord
So
Jesus.
how
Please
strict
don't tell
was it?
us. No, I'm
Uh,
just kidding.
well, but the brand will tell you. So like when I buy rice, I buy organic rice. I don't buy non-organic rice. Um, I want my rice to be as complete as possible. So like basic rules of thumb, like I've mentioned the wild caught fish. I've mentioned grass-fed red meat, organic poultry, but we want foods to look closest to what they look like in
In the
nature.
original form, yeah.
Exactly.
I remember
That
that.
that will serve us the best, and we'll get the most nutrients from it as well too, without side effects. Like a lot of people won't eat carbs or grains because they say, "Oh, I'm going to gain weight if I eat carbs." If you're eating now, some people don't do well with a lot of carbs, so they probably do need to minimize it. But if they're eating wild rice, if they're eating brown rice, you're not going to gain weight not nearly the same way you would if you were eating just plain white rice.
Hmm.
Carbs in our body turn into sugar. But if it has the fiber attached, it takes a lot longer for it to break down into sugar, but the body also gets the iron, the calcium, the protein, the selenium, the other minerals from those grains that we would want to have.
I just need a chef.
Yeah.
Maybe so. But
Or
it
become one.
really so well, at some point I will start to do cooking segments.
Well,
Um and only because on it's a lot of information. So but I started this journey, how old am I? I started this journey 18 years ago.
wow.
So I was that, and this is when I was in college. I started to eat organic and shopping at. I didn't know anything about a Trader Joe's, so I was only going to Whole Foods. And you quickly learn you can't afford real food and treat. So not as a college student. So I quickly took out any cookies, any cakes, any cereals. I could only afford whole food. So that's what we bought. If we wanted treats, we bought two types of fruit for the 2 weeks that we were shopping for. I planned out every meal. So and I still had if I made lasagna, it was just with organic noodles and it was with either ground turkey or it was with like an organic beef. The dairy, the cheese I would use would be organic as well too, and so would the sauce. But I would the reason I planned it out because I had to price it out. Lasagna is not a cheap dish. Anything
No.
with cheese in it usually is not a cheap dish. So
S-
I just made everything from scratch. If we wanted au gratin, like the cheesy um, potatoes
HL.
that you make, yeah, I slice the potatoes by hand. I cut the cheese by hand, and I make everything myself. I would bake the chicken, whatever I made. If we anything we wanted, I made it from scratch. So if it was someone's birthday at school, I baked the cake. And that's how we did it. I went literally to the basics. I got the ingredients we needed for whatever we wanted to make. And I've grown from there, figuring out, okay, what herbs go nice with what spices and what tastes good with what protein. And it is simple. It's just when you're hearing it all at one time, it's a lot of information at once, so it almost seems impossible. But it all it is, it's the same exact thing that you're doing. You're literally just changing the quality of the same things that are already in your house. So if you have paprika and allspice and thyme and salt in your house, you're just making sure the herbs are either non-irradiated or organic. That salt, instead of it being iodized salt, is going to be sea salt or Himalayan salt. Maybe
I
you'll use
use
a little
that.
bit more. Mm-hmm.
I use that.
Good.
Sea salt.
So, but these are these are simple little things that, changes that we make. Even when we're buying flour, if you do bake at home, instead of the bleach flour, the bleach enriched flour, get the whole grain flour. You can that regular flour still has gluten in it, so you
Okay.
can still the same way. So it's little changes that you make over time.
Yeah, I was going to ask because for a person that's, all our lives,
Mhm.
we've been trying to fight with eating, correctly, but I guess it's more so understanding the benefits of what foods you choose and
Yeah.
how it's going to affect your system. But
Mhm.
it's never too late to make a choice or change. I guess I would ask, it's never
Yeah.
too late because we still want to prosper and be in good health
Just
and
as our soul prospers.
as
Yep.
just as our soul prospers. So some people may feel, well, since I've been used to eating you know the dirty foods, I'll just continue because I'm gonna die anyway. So but but I think understanding what you're eating and understanding if you're making better choices, then in the long run it's going to do your body the benefit of good, because what's going in your system now is helping your system rather than hurting your system.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah.
Yeah. And mindset does play a big role in
Mindset.
that. So yeah, so if you're stressed about your food, or if you're condemning yourself when you don't do right, that plays a role in how your body digests and uses the nutrients within your food. I mean, within your body. So those people who say, I'm going to diet anyways, I'm just going to eat whatever I want, because they have not that those foods are benefiting them, but because they are not allowing it to be a stressor on them, and they're literally, even though they're not eating great, they're choosing joy potentially. um, that can aid in having a happier, healthier life. And
I'm gonna choose joy.
so, but now, but bring a balance to that too. So sometimes, often, what I hear, I have patients who some patients don't want to make the change, usually because of lack of understanding. But when we're eating those certain foods for comfort, it's usually for certain reasons. There may be alcoholism. Like, I have a patient where she eats healthy, but on the weekends, her and her husband, there's no holds bar when it comes to how much they drink. So now there's alcoholism in her family, and she's well aware of it, but now, I think that's a dangerous place for her to go, just given that it's in her family.
Right.
So when we're looking at strongholds, we have to look at what type of crutches did our family go to self soothe. So, and granted, a piece of chicken may not have the same detriment as too many glasses of wine or too many shots of brandy, but it can. So if we're self-soothing with food, we have to ask ourselves why. Like, what is the root of this?
It's
So,
just it's just a lot of what we eat now. It's
mhm,
been passed down. Our parents cooked that way.
yeah,
They cooked with certain food. There's certain foods that they've cooked throughout our entire lives, and so
yeah,
even though we may not live in the same household as the parents, but yet we
hmm,
find ourselves cooking the same way and just
hmm,
Repeating the
just
pattern.
repeating the right. So it's generational. Some of this things that's
hmm,
being passed down, as well as spirits, can be passed down generationally.
yeah,
The
hmm,
bad eating, quote unquote bad, I guess not bad to them because that's all they could afford back then, so they
hmm,
bought and they cooked whatever they could afford, which that's why
well,
we're alive today, because of we had to eat
yeah.
liver and and things like that,
Same
things
here.
that
Yeah.
I don't know if you had liver,
Gizzards.
I don't
you
like
know,
it, but that's what was on the plate sometimes.
pork, pigtail,
Hmm.
and then you'd eat all this stuff, but
Yeah.
um, so some of that can also be passed down to us
Yeah.
also. So it's just now coming into understanding, and realizing that, listen, we're not as young as we, used to be. And if we and if we make better choices, understanding what the food can do,
Mhm.
to us. It can hurt us or it can help us. So
Mhm.
I think I'm learning that even as we go. I'm learning, if I choose the basmati rice over, parboil, then it may serve the brown basmati, right? Brown, not the white one, the brown one.
You can do either or.
I'm just messing with you. Um,
So,
so
question again. Sorry, go on.
go ahead, Pastor Jay.
Question. In okay, so let's. So I'm trying to soak as much as I can in, and I know that there are some changes that I would love to be able to do. I
Mhm.
think I'm. My question is some tips on doing that in a household that may not be ready for that, but I
Mhm.
would like to do some of that.
Mm,
To begin
So
it. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah. So the two things I would do is one, have a conversation with the other person in the house who makes those types of decisions with you, so that way you guys are on the same page. But then choose one thing to adjust, just one, and whatever that easiest thing is. So if you change the easiest thing, it will also be the easiest transition. So if and that change could look like, we're gonna save desserts for Fridays, which is gonna be our family night. That way, I don't know if you got, and this is just an example, but some families may do dessert every single night. Instead of doing dessert every single night, save it for Friday night, but maybe Friday night you guys pick a movie out and you watch a movie as a family or play a game together. So you make it, you're intentional about it. Again, it's not changing our food habits is not meant to be a punishment. It's actually meant to be a reward and something to enjoy. But between you and your husband, say, you know what, like if he feels like, I could give up the soda, then you guys decide to not have soda in the house anymore. Or, hey, you know what, we all could benefit from drinking more water. Let's do a water challenge this week and see, who drinks the most water in a week, and then, pick a prize, so to speak. But then
Right,
it helps start to reset a habit.
right,
So it's not about being, super ironclad and strict. It's like, okay, how can I assimilate this for my family because it will benefit them, but without ruffling their feathers so much that they resist it.
right,
Okay, little things like that, or with grocery shopping, if you buy the same things but now you're switching to organic, then there's really no difference there. You're still cooking. You just now now maybe most of your meats are organic instead of none of it, or maybe your fruits and veggies are organic and you'll work on the meats later.
right.
But you can, and it's still you're still buying strawberries, you're still buying blueberries, but now they're organic instead of non-organic. That way we're avoiding the pesticides.
Yeah,
So, and those things do go a long way.
right. Those things are probably doable because they wouldn't notice it. They don't care.
Exactly.
They don't care
Those are usually
where the
the
meat come
easiest
from.
changes.
It's
Yes.
the sodas and the water.
Hmm.
And I think, well, you know what? Yeah, let's just sneak some organic stuff in there.
But that'll work. But that might be the easiest change to do because it's it's like the the face is staying the same. Like if you have the original Mona Lisa and a copy of it, if the goal is just to have a picture on the wall, it doesn't matter whether it's the original or not, right? So everyone is just going to notice, okay, there's still a picture on the wall. As long as there's still fruit in the fridge, it's organic. They probably don't know, but that's
trick them, Pastor Jay. Trick them.
Pick 'em.
Trick them. My wife is saving me a lot of money right now because she doesn't eat meat, and so and she doesn't eat fish. She's allergic to fish, so
okay.
a lot of what she eats is plant-based stuff. She eats that, um, substitute like plant-based,
Okay.
meats, and um, I've tried to, hmm, I've tried to dabble in that area with
Mhm.
her, you know,
Mhm.
but it's just not working. And so in this household,
Mhm.
Ayana, my daughter, she would, if she's cooking, she knows off the bat, Jill's not eating the meat, so it's just
Yeah.
her and me. So
Mhm.
we go to town. Um,
Okay.
we go to town and eat hers as well, eat for her. Um, but so, but
Though she knows she's not going to eat it.
oh, those should no. But we eat for her, you know. But now I'm thinking we need to make better choices. If it's meats that we're eating,
Yeah.
Diana, myself, we have to make better choices in choosing the organic or the no
About the meat.
The grass fed or yeah, the
grass
free
fed,
range meat.
those
Yeah.
types of things, because it may cost a little more, but in the long run, it's
And
going
that
to be better off.
yeah, as I'm saying, that's the thing. It's we're gonna pay for it now or later. So we can
Mm.
pay for it now, and the cost is actually a lot less now
I
because
don't want
it's
to
just
pay for it at
grocery.
all. No.
Well, but
Wow.
you know, even if uh, sometimes Anthony he doesn't want animal protein, like he'll say he's gonna be a vegetarian until I buy him ribs. So, but what his plate might look like is I will make him rice and beans, and he'll do a salad, or I'll do I'll make him a pot. I'll do a seasoned pasta, like a herbal pasta. I'll add peas, sometimes spinach or kale to it, and then add a salad to the side. And my pasta is usually quinoa pasta. So I'll do things like that where it is all plant based and it may be just vegetarian or vegan, but it's nutrient dense, it's filling, and he still gets what he needs.
Right.
So we actually don't always have to have the meat, or we don't always have to have it at every single meal. We do just want to like a nice dinner plate might look like, let's say you were having lamb. It may look like some lamb, kale, butternut squash, and string beans. There's technically no grains on there, but all of what's on there can taste really flavorful and be filling without causing bloating or constipation.
Mm.
Or if you went the fish route, you could have some salmon and make. I like to get fancy in the kitchen. Like I love flavors, so I'll make a sauce, or I'll pan sear it, and I'll chop up I'll saute fresh tomatoes and fresh basil and put that on top of it, and I'll have that with maybe I'll do a side of quinoa pasta, or I'll just do it with an additional salad and some broccoli. But it tastes great, and it's because I'm looking for the flavors of it. I
That
don't care
sounds
what the
good.
flavor. Yeah, and the flavors don't have to be a grain. The flavors could just be the other veggies, but it tastes great.
That sounds good.
Mhm.
Right now. Doc, I'm going to definitely have you back. There's a lot more on this page that we need to
Yeah.
tackle. But one last thing.
Yeah.
From the time you said it, I think last year when you came on, Jill and I have switched from eating um, McDonald's French fries, burger. We don't eat any other French fry but the one you suggested,
Okay.
Wendy's.
Okay.
Wendy's fries, and I'm telling you, there is a difference. It does taste
Yeah.
different because it still
hmm
has, the skin. Well, not the skin, but
Sometimes it will. They have the
the original.
yeah.
And it's a lot better. We've been doing that, so we're finding where's a Wendy. We can't stop here. No, don't stop there. or even Chick-fil-A, cause Chick-fil-A, their fries are
You know what I have? Yeah, and I haven't even
Jesus.
whichever French fries is going to have the least amount of ingredients is going to be the better option. So ideally, French fries should be a potato, the oil, and sea salt, and that's it.
Right.
I want it. McDonald's has about 36 or so ingredients in their French
What?
fries. Yes.
That's why
Um,
they're addictive.
yeah, Wendy's, I believe, and unless they've changed it, I believe they have about 19, but I haven't checked Chick-fil-A. So if Chick-fil-A is cleaner, then you want to go that route. But the healthier French fry is the one you make at home. That's going to be the healthier French fry.
But what oil do you fry it
Um,
though? What oil?
well, now that there's such a thing as air fryers, you can do that.
I
Mm.
don't
Um,
like air
You need
fryers.
the special air frying pot though.
okay. Now I bake my French fries. Like if I make French fries, I bake them. Either
Oh,
well, I'll do either or. If I fry them, I'll use rice bran oil or sunflower seed oil.
wait, what kind of oil?
Sunflower seed oil or rice bran oil. So
Not
Sunflower.
I'll
olive oil.
no, so olive oil it'll burn if you do high heat. But if you bake it, you could actually drizzle it with olive oil and sea salt and bake it that way instead.
Rice what oil?
Rice bran.
Bran.
Yep, BRAN.
Oh,
Never heard
I've
of that.
never heard of that.
Yeah, you don't find it in stores as much. You used to be able to, but if there's anything you buy on Amazon, Amazon does have organic cold pressed rice bran oil.
The fry or
I need a chef, I need a biologist, and a scientist.
my God. Good God from Mount Zion.
And a naturopath.
And the natural.
So you have two of the three right here, and then when I
How
get
long is it?
the segments going,
Yeah, we definitely want to come back and visit and talk about more of this because it's so good. Um, one of the things we have on here is gaining excessive weight. You know, how do we fight that, combat that? Yeah, I know. For men and women, hey, hey, listen, we're all in this together.
Especially
Uh,
since COVID.
okay,
But that would be
yeah,
interesting because you
shifting
know
the
what? Because men tend to, all right, look, if my husband was here, he'd say he loses the weight real quick. When we do the fast and everything else, he's like on that advertisement where you see the man just go skinny like this. He
hmm
does he does that in about 4 weeks. He's just down like this, but there's a belly.
Oh,
So how do
So
you see what I'm saying? So yeah, that
so
would be good.
when there's a belly, it means that the person isn't losing the weight we want to lose.
so how do we fix
So
it?
well, the way to fix it is usually through diet. The way to fix it is
Hold
through
on, I gotta
diet.
write this down. Hold on. Wait, what?
yeah, we all yeah. Let me get my yeah.
Hold on, hold on.
Oh, it's
When there's a
recording.
belly, what now?
I said usually if there's a belly but you lose weight everywhere else, it's usually due to actually two things: diet, but potentially stress as well too. So if it's
Stress.
Mhm.
easy to gain weight, so stress will make us gain weight around between our hips and our belly button.
Oh yes.
Where we'll get that, yeah, and that's for men and women. We'll tend to gain weight there.
Stress.
Uh, yes, stress and stress. Stress can look like poor sleep. It can look like outside
Mm.
stressors like moving or building a house, or passing in the family, preparing for a big event, changes at a job, or just typical life stress or a pandemic. So
Hello.
stress. Yes, so stress is especially when we're not managing it well, will definitely make us gain weight. If we have poor sleep, it's almost impossible to lose weight
If we have
because the
what?
body. If we have poor sleep.
Oh mercy. Good night.
I'm telling you,
Gotta go to sleep.
for sleep. Wow.
It's almost impossible to lose weight if we have poor sleep.
Lord Jesus.
We should be able to fall
Okay.
asleep quickly, stay asleep, and wake well rested in the morning.
Oh
So if
God.
any of those components are compromised, then we need help with sleep.
Okay, so what if you have all of them? You
So
just
so so if
Wait.
someone
Well,
has all of them, then that brings me back to stress. So then I need
mercy.
to likely work on someone's adrenal glands so that they can have a better circadian rhythm. So that way they can fall asleep better, but when they wake up they feel rested and they maintain their energy throughout the day.
I like that natural calm that you suggested one time to help.
Mhm.
That helps, bring you down. That natural.
Yeah. Mhm.
What is it?
So natural calm it's magnesium. It's a powdered magnesium.
Okay.
Magnesium is very common. So if someone wanted to take that at night, they can. The only caution I would say is if you take too much, it can make
Yeah.
your stool looser. Which if you're constipated, then it'll make you more regular. It doesn't cause any
Okay.
Oh,
pain.
I guess
So
that's why I like it. Something. No, I'm just kidding. I mean,
So
have
you,
so much.
the regular magnesium that you would use like in a laxative.
so there are different types of magnesium. But in Natural Calm, I believe Natural Calm has magnesium citrate in it, which would make it easier to have a bowel movement as well. It
So
relaxes the
natural
muscles.
calm is CALM.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a powder and it comes flavored.
I have
And
some
what
downstairs.
is
You want
that
me to show
doing?
it to you? Let me
Yeah.
get it.
What is that natural calm doing then? It's
So it literally is so for the digestive tract, it's bringing more water into the colon so that it's easier or the stool is softer to pass. In terms of the muscles, magnesium relaxes our muscles.
mercy. I
So
need that.
So, but you're not recommending like Phillips milk of magnesium.
no, So I would go to a health food store. I usually don't recommend getting supplements from a drugstore. Like I wouldn't go to CVS or Walgreens for it.
What's
Um,
this melatonin? Melatonin.
Melatonin is a hormone that we make naturally. So at night, melatonin should increase and cortisol should decrease. That's what helps us fall asleep um,
Don't know if you could see it.
appropriately at night.
Okay. And is that like a drink? Is that like a tea?
No.
You mix it
You
with
can just mix
water?
it with water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mix
And
it with
drink it
water.
cold?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Could you
Or
drink it
room
hot?
temperature.
It's like
You probably can if you
like that
so
packet.
yeah. So he has a little, but it also comes in a canister as
Yeah.
well too.
Right. And it has a flavor, you said, right?
Yeah. This is
Yeah. So you
different flavors.
Can I
yeah.
put
It's
can I put
So
salsa
far.
water in that?
um
Huh?
I
Can you
don't
put what?
why not seltzer
Because
water,
I'm
but
saying if it's cold, I want the fizz. But if it's
so
hot, I
You're not
can
gonna
drink almost any herbal tea flavors as long as it's hot.
you're not
So
gonna
if
get
I
so
no
can
the
fizz
drink
out
that
of that.
hot, I could do it.
well, yeah, I was gonna say the natural calm usually already has its own fizz. So if you mix it with the seltzer, it just might
Oh,
explode. Yeah.
nice.
Nice.
I like that.
Is it nice?
You used to be able to drink it and go, ah.
Okay, natural calm powder. Okay.
Yeah,
Where did you
this
get that, Pastor John?
where did I get this?
Philadelphia?
Sprouts. Sprouts.
Oh, Sprouts.
Yeah. Sprouts. Sprouts
Where's,
have it. Sprouts is
Is it a
where's
health
the
food store down there?
it's like
where's the closest?
you know where Whole Foods is?
Which one?
Oh. North
Druid North Druid Hills?
no, not that far. It's hard for me.
North Decatur. North
North Decatur.
Decatur.
Yep, North Decatur.
I just okay. Yeah, there's a new one. Okay, okay,
Yeah, it's close to Sprouts is close to Whole Foods, and they
okay,
have Walmart over there as well, and there's a couple things over there. But
I'm
yeah,
okay.
wondering if that's where I used to shop at.
huh?
I said I'm wondering if that's where when I was in Atlanta, if that's where I used to shop at because it trying to remember where we had to travel for Whole Foods because it
Well, I
wasn't
think this is
super close.
new. Isn't this the new one
Okay.
in Decatur?
It's new. Yeah, that one's new. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
that one is new. Yeah,
Then
new as
whatever the
in
old one is.
yeah. Oh, there's a couple of them. So,
Okay.
but this is
It's
great. This has definitely helped me.
okay.
And it relaxes.
Oh yeah,
And
you take
Mhm.
this. Jill takes it. She sips on it. She even takes it sometime during the day. Like, sips during the days. To kind of help her. But
So
I
if you
do it at night.
yeah, if you're a person who may be
Hey,
more
Carrington.
anxious, that can help during the day as well too.
Yeah,
hmm.
yeah. So it's pretty good. It's natural too. It's not gonna mess with you.
Oh,
um,
okay.
apart from what loosen your stew. Is that what you said? Loosen your
Yes.
stew.
Mhm.
Well, sometimes we need help.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
But listen, Doctor Zoe, I don't want to keep you on any. This is good. Some good stuff. We'll definitely try to address some more of this. Um, we've already dealt with quite a bit on here. I still want to
Mhm.
do the dirty dozen, the clean dozen again. When is it time
Okay.
for us to take a cleanse?
Yeah.
Those types of differences
Okay.
between going to a naturopath and going to a regular GP.
Mhm.
How to change our eating habits. So there's, and should we go vegan? You talked about that tonight a little bit. So, we definitely thank you for this some pertinent wealth of knowledge and information that you shared with
Yeah.
us tonight. And also not just because you're a naturopath, but because you're a believer, and so you see the correlation that you understand it even more from the Christian perspective, what we
Yeah.
need to be doing.
Mhm.
That's why that scripture is more relevant for you because you see the results of the natural healing of the
Yeah.
food, but adding the spiritual element to it, it makes it all relevant. So
Yeah.
I do thank you
Thank you
for
for having me.
bringing this again. A couple people have texted me during as we were talking, so that's why we have people missing tonight. But
Mm,
I do thank you for your time again. You do a segment on Tuesdays. Is that
I do.
still on?
So yeah, I've as of March, I switched to every other Tuesday. So I just did one on cholesterol.
Ah, let
Right.
me
What
see.
is it? Yeah.
It's
So I
on
just did one.
Instagram, right? Instagram.
It should be on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
Oh,
Uh,
on Facebook, where would I look?
Natural Life Wellness. So
Natural
Facebook,
Life Wellness.
yeah, Natural Life Wellness LLC. And that I have to check that video because my I had a glitch when I was recording. So if you're watching it and it is a mess up, let me know. I'll just send you the one from Instagram.
'Cause
Do you
they
have
Or
claim
maybe
they
I'll
claim
just
I'm borderline right now.
hmm?
They
you
claim I'm borderline with my cholesterol right now.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, so I go through like some of the basic stuff that I mentioned tonight about cholesterol, but it cholesterol is person dependent. And one of the main reasons why the range for cholesterol is at a 200 is only because when they came up with a new drug decades ago, they said, okay, let's decrease it from 300 to 200. There was really no significant data to warrant that change. Other than that, there was a new medication that they could use. So, and again, keep in mind, just because cholesterol is elevated, it being elevated in and of itself is not at all a predictor of a cardiovascular event. And so legally, whenever a doctor writes a prescription for a statin medication, they're actually accepting any potential risk from the side effects of that statin drug. They
mhm.
can't rely on the pharmaceutical company or the medical system because
What
because of how the research shows it.
and what are some of those side effects? Do you know any of them?
So for women, and some of it is long term, but for women, statin medications can actually cause other cardiovascular diseases, but also certain cancer. So it more times than not, if someone is having elevated cholesterol, it's better to just deal with it naturally than to go on a medication. Now, if someone has a cholesterol of like 500, I want to know why. There are some people like in like Scandinavia, the Netherlands, in that area, they actually their cholesterol can be as high as 4 or 500. Genetically, I think their body needs it. So was doing the research and they gave those individuals the statin medications, it did bring their cholesterol down, but it also increased depression in that population.
Wow.
Yeah. So, which is when we decrease our cholesterol, we need cholesterol for brain health, we need it for cell function, we need it to make hormones. And oftentimes, when women are going through either going through menopause or getting close to that menopausal state, the body notices that it's making less hormone. So the way that it responds is by increasing cholesterol to be available to make more hormone.
I see.
That's not a bad response. It doesn't mean that your cholesterol is elevated in a bad way. It's trying to help your body make more hormone.
Yeah, but
So if that's
doctors
hmm
know this, don't they?
um, I would I would hope so. Um, Conventional medicine, the way it's designed, the practice of conventional medicine is more of a if this then that. So there's usually a book and a manual that they work from. So if you see this value, this is what you give. There's not really too much wiggle room for investigation. It's usually based on that individual doctor who chooses to do the investigation.
Right, right, right. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Help us, Lord.
Dr. Zoe's going to help us.
I
I
think
hope
Lord
I
has sent her.
I really do. I really do think the cooking segments would be very good as well. And we
Yeah.
could tune
okay.
in and do it with you at the same time to kind of see
Okay.
how it tastes and stuff like that. Um,
Oh, yeah, but I have to plan that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because
yeah,
my
we,
kitchen
we
has
would.
a lot of people around there.
Well, what I may do initially is maybe record a few,
Oh, yeah,
and then just so that way there's some type of resource for people to pull from.
yeah. To access at your
And maybe
leisure and do it. Yeah.
exactly. And maybe I'll do a few segments, kind of just going through my own cupboard. Like this is what organic seasonings look like. This is what the label will look like. This is where you could get it from.
Hmm. Okay, so let me see. I'm gonna see if I can find your page right now before you get off on Facebook.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Doc. Again, this is some valuable information, and we appreciate you and your time bringing it to us. Um, that Ezekiel bread,
Dirty
that
bread.
that
I'm not going to tell you to eat it.
that
He
sturdy
says
bread,
dirty bread.
that bread can hold up your car. It can, balance.
Well, shucks, the word is foundational, right? So why wouldn't the bread be?
Oh yeah, that bread.
Becomes the rock bread.
Oh yeah,
Woo!
that bread. Yeah, fill a hole in the wall. I mean, that bread.
Oh, goodness.
I'm trying to tell you, it's a weapon.
Elder, Elder John, the next time you and Jill come up here, let me know in advance and I will cook for you guys.
Oh my God,
Okay?
that might be soon.
Well, let me know so I can prepare, and I'll make sure that I have some vegan stuff for Jill and I have meat for you.
Yes, meat,
Okay, so hold
He
on. Let
said
me
yes.
meat.
That's funny.
Yep.
result from that. Okay, wait a minute.
Well,
Where?
I appreciate you guys having me tonight.
Oh God,
Trying
please.
to find
Thank
you.
you.
Does it say natural life, wellness, alternative, and holistic health or something like that?
I don't know.
Service. All right, let me show you. Hold on.
The picture I think is of me, but my hair straightened, and I have on a scrub top. Oh yeah, that's me.
Okay, I
He
just
said,
sent
oh,
you a
yeah.
message.
Okay, I'll make sure I check it.
All right.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Dr. Zoe. We
Thank
will
you.
definitely have you back for sure.
Okay.
And so we could definitely address some more of this. This has helped. It's helped me. Thank you for also attaching the spiritual aspect also to it because it makes it more relevant, um,
Yeah.
which we should be really focusing on. And so not just as our soul prospered, but be in good health. And so thank you so much. I'm sure the team appreciates you. your,
Yes, yes,
your
we do.
your time,
I do.
your talent, your efforts, and please don't make this the last time. Please come back. We
You,
definitely want to have you.
I'll always tell you, Elder John, if you ask me, I'll be there.
All right,
So
I
yeah,
appreciate that because
no
you
problem.
definitely helped me. I'm gonna, I did record it also, for those that missed it, so I can definitely send it to you or put it up on our YouTube page for
So you
Okay.
did a whole thing on the heart disease. I see. And
Um,
I'm looking at the heart
honestly,
disease section.
oh, okay. I was gonna say I